Reacher could continue past the books, but it's probably not a good idea. Based on the series of books by Lee Child, each season of Reacher thus far has been adapted from one of Child's novels. As the show progresses, some have questioned whether the series will continue beyond its source material. While there are plenty of shows that stray beyond the books they're adapted from, Reacher doesn't need to be one of them. Sure, the series could continue past Child's numerous novels if it chose to, but it certainly doesn't need to. Ever since Reacher premiered on Prime Video in February 2022, the series has become a massive hit for the streaming service. The show follows a former Army police officer named Jack Reacher Alan Richson, who now spends his days roaming the United States with nothing more than the clothes on his back and a toothbrush in his pocket. Along the way, he encounters various situations in which he and his associates solve all sorts of crimes. However, Reacher's endeavors don't involve run-of-the-mill petty crimes. Rather, they usually encompass larger conspiracies and undercover operations. While the show is not an anthology series, each season can be enjoyed without having seen previous ones, which is by design. Every new season presents viewers with a whole new host of characters, all centered around its main hero, Reacher. Given how well the show has been received since its inaugural season, maintaining its commitment to the books is by far the best way to go. Plus, Reacher would have to produce new seasons for decades before it ever needed new material. Child's Reacher universe is extensive, which means there's no need to stray from his books. However, creating spin-offs is another avenue worth exploring. There's no need for Reacher to stray from the books. Lee Child might have full confidence in the show's writers, but that doesn't mean the series needs to venture beyond the world he's already created. With 29 novels in the series, it would be a long time before Reacher would need a new adventure for its titular character. Given the nature of television nowadays, it's unlikely a show like Reacher will surpass 2 decades worth of episodes. That being said, crazier things have happened. Given how popular Reacher has been for Prime Video, it's entirely possible that they'd want to keep it going for over 20 years. Nevertheless, even if they did, the series wouldn't need to continue Reacher's narrative past the books. Lee Child's novels are abundant, and the various stories they tell are vast. Reacher even ages in real time as the books progress. As such, creating new storylines for the retired Army police officer would be completely unnecessary. Why would the writers want to make their job any harder when the source material is so comprehensive and ripe for the taking? With 29 novels about Reacher, the show and its writers are certainly set for years to come. As such, exploring possible spin-offs of the popular series is definitely better than contemplating whether to continue past Child's books. In fact, Reacher's universe is already set to expand with a spin-off series about one of Reacher's old crew, Frances Neagley Maria Sten. Aptly titled Neagley, the forthcoming show is clearly the best way to venture beyond the scope of Child's books. A fan favorite, Neagley was first introduced to viewers in Reacher's first season. She had a much more predominant role in Season 2 and has been seen a few times throughout Season 3. As a private investigator in Chicago, Neagley is skilled at acquiring information, which she's done numerous times whenever Reacher has needed her. She was the first person he recruited for the Army's 110th Special Investigations Unit, and ever since then, the pair have shared a kinship-like relationship that audiences love to watch. Reacher could continue past the books, but it's probably not a good idea. Jack Reacher walks into a town, rights a wrong, and disappears into the night. That's the formula. It's clean, simple, and effective, just like Reacher himself. With the explosive success of Prime Video's Reacher series, it's no surprise fans are speculating about the future. Could the show continue past Lee Child's source material? Sure, but should it? That's where things get tricky. On paper, Reacher is the perfect protagonist to outlive the boundaries of the books. He's practically mythic, a hulking drifter with an iron moral compass, and a knack for uncovering hidden evil in the most innocuous places. And with Alan Richson breathing new life into the role, there's a strong case for stretching the series beyond the 28 soon-to-be 29 novels that Lee Child, and now his brother Andrew, have laid out. But while Reacher might be able to break bones with a single punch, breaking free from his literary blueprint could break something far more important, the essence of the character. Let's start with what makes Reacher work so well. Each season is a self-contained story ripped straight from one of the books. The writers have a clear narrative roadmap, a finely tuned tone, and a character who's already been fleshed out over decades. Viewers know what to expect, and they like it that way. Reacher isn't about plot twists or complex character arcs. It's about justice, simplicity, and the sheer catharsis of watching bad guys get what's coming to them. Once the show moves beyond the books, that foundation gets shaky. Original stories, no matter how well written, carry the risk of diluting Reacher's world. Imagine a new season where he suddenly has a long-lost brother, or a mysterious organization targeting him, or worse, a love interest who keeps showing up. These tropes aren't just foreign to the Reacher ethos, they're the antithesis of it. Reacher doesn't need an origin story retcon. He doesn't need a Marvel-style villain arc. He doesn't need emotional baggage, unresolved trauma, or a team of recurring sidekicks. He needs a bus ticket, a problem, and someone who thinks they're untouchable. Even Lee Child knew the formula had an expiration date. That's why he started co-writing the later novels with his younger brother Andrew Grant, now writing under the pen name Andrew Child. The goal was to pass the torch while maintaining the character's integrity, and even that has drawn mixed reviews from longtime fans. If transitioning authorship in the books caused ripples, imagine what inventing brand new seasons from scratch would do to the fanbase. Then there's the risk of fatigue. One of the most brilliant things about Reacher, both on the page and on screen, is its restraint. You don't get a new story every few months. You get one solid entry at a time. It builds anticipation, and it avoids burnout. Extending the show indefinitely risks turning Reacher into just another franchise that went too far. Looking at you, Dexter. It's also worth asking, what more is there to say? Each book drops Reacher into a new location with a new cast of characters and a new injustice to fight. But thematically, the stories are largely the same, and that's a good thing. Reacher isn't meant to evolve. He doesn't need a redemption arc or a climactic final battle. He is, by design, a force of nature. You don't give a thunderstorm character development. You let it roll in, raise hell, and vanish. Now, to be fair, original stories aren't inherently bad. With the right team and a deep understanding of the character, it's possible to keep Reacher fresh without betraying the source material. There's room for more tales in the same tone and style, especially if they maintain the structure. Reacher arrives, uncovers trouble, dishes out justice, leaves. No soap opera subplots, no franchise-building nonsense. But possible doesn't mean wise. What makes Reacher special is that it doesn't feel like every other show. It's not trying to be the next Jack Ryan or Sherlock Holmes. It knows what it is and stays in its lane, a brutal, compelling lane lined with broken arms and smug villains getting their comeuppance. Stretch it too far, and you risk snapping the spine of everything that makes it work. Sometimes, the smartest move is to stick the landing. Finish adapting the books, maybe even pick the best ones and skip a few duds. Deliver tight, satisfying seasons that respect the character and the fans. Then let Reacher walk off into the sunset, no spin-offs, no prequels, no endless reboots. Because if there's one thing we've learned from Jack Reacher, it's this. Sometimes the best thing you can do is know when to leave. Let me know if you like this turned into a script or posted in a blog format.